Jack and I have had a friend, Samantha, who passed away in January. Was diagnosed with MS 2 years before she died, and succumbed to one of the many, side effects of MS. She passed away, and it was gut-wrenching.
So the way I found out about Sam, Jason, Roland, Jacob Asher, and I had a gig in Greensboro. At the Greensboro Fringe Festival, we were doing a gig with the Sloan. There's a sketch that we wrote in a restaurant with Jacob and I on stage, checking out our phones, ignoring the waitress. I'm doing this and my phone starts going off crazy. I'm getting calls and I'm just like, ignore. You sent me a few messages that night. You were like, is this real? So after the sketch, I go back behind stage because I'm not next. And I start checking my phone and I'm getting these texts and stuff. And you sent me a message, hey, I just saw on Facebook, is this thing with Sam, is this for real? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. And I listened to a voicemail that I'd gotten from her aunt. They had found her a couple hours before she had passed away. And so I was in the middle of a comedy show and Jacob and Jason were right there. My eyes just welled up. I was angry. I went from pale white to bright red, and Jason knew something was wrong, and I wanted to keep it to myself until the end of the show. So I go out there and I perform. After that, we were at intermission, and I had to tell him, and I told him what was going on, and that was a rough night. It was a rough night.
So my amazing and much loved wife, Jessica, is also afflicted with multiple sclerosis, and Sam and Jessica had started to talk on the internet and to communicate. Sam was reaching out for someone who had some similar experiences and that could help her find her way through the disease, which is extremely difficult. And it was my wife that found out and told me. So it was kind of a double whammy, because not only was it this big beautiful light had gone out, but it was my poor wife was the one that had to find out. She would have found out anyway, whether I told her or whether she found out, but the fact that we had just seen her on New Year's Eve, and it was just came out of nowhere, man. And the reality is that MS takes people. It doesn't.
No warning. It does.
No warning. No sympathy. Whatever. It doesn't really care about you or your family. It doesn't care about your quality of life, and it doesn't care at all about the things that you have going for you.
That's why we're doing this show. If I can play a small part in stopping somebody in the future from feeling what I had to feel from that loss, from feeling the way that Jess has to feel on a daily basis, then it's worth it.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that talking about MS was not necessarily shunned, but looked down upon. I think it should be talked about. Nobody knows about it.
They do, but they don't have any clue. They don't understand
They
what it's
know
like.
MS is a thing, but they have no idea what agonizing hell these people go through.
Yeah.
It's
an invisible disease.
It
man.
really is.
Unless somebody's in afflicted in a wheelchair or on crutches or something, it can be an invisible disease. My very best friend growing up, Jeremiah, his mom has MS, so I've been around the disease my entire life. So that's this is something that's really close to our hearts.
It really is.
If we can have any influence on the world, this is it, man. This is exactly the kind of thing why I want to do comedy.
Same here.
Is so that we can raise money for stuff, or so that we can use our voices to help other people. If this is all I have, a voice box and the ability to keep running for as long as I can or be funny, then I need to find a way to use that to give back to the world, for the good of the world.
I agree. Like, why am I using my time to do this show? Because I have the ability to. I can. And why shouldn't I?
Yeah. And if you have the ability to do something, whatever you can do to affect the people around you is the most important thing you can do. On August the 27th, join us please at the McGlowan Theater in Charlotte to raise as much money as we can to donate to the National MS Society in the memory of our great, great friend Samantha, and in the living memory of everybody that suffers with this disease, whether you are diagnosed or whether you live with somebody or know somebody or have known somebody with this disease. It has affected you in some way. Guys, come and see us.